Hey everyone, this is John. Let's check second moonshot. Today I'm going to get a little bit ambitious, and I've got a picture that I'm going to be packing up, and it's a technique I use for medium to large pictures that I found to be very resilient, and um, it's made some adjustments as I have had some damage on previous iterations of it, and I keep tweaking it and improving it so it's stronger around certain areas that are more prone for damage. So I'm going to go through that today. It's probably going to be could be a little bit of a lengthy video. It's 30, 45 minutes. I've tried to speed it up and I've pre-cut some of the pieces to make it a little bit quicker. So we'll see how it goes. And I'm going to be moving around, but everything will be generally focused around the table, although you may not see my face too much. Some of the stuff that we'll be using, assuming I didn't forget anything else, utility knife, just some straight edges. I got a folding tool, creasing bone tool, comes in handy. Just something to mark your cardboard if you need to, just some tapes. I've also got some stretch wrap, which I use a little more frequently than tape sometimes. It's a little bit easier for people to take off, and um, I, it's just something I use to find very useful. Got my glue gun, should be enough glue, but I've got some more glue sticks. This is the picture that I'm going to be shipping here, and it's a Robert Marble um, signed and numbered print. I've cut some cardboard that we'll use to wrap it internally. We'll use various styles of bubble wrap. This one here, which is the 24, I use for the final wrapping of the bubble wrap of the picture. But before I started buying the 24-inch, I just taped two of the 12-inch stuff together. And then I've got a couple of sheets of cardboard. I do custom framing, and they ship me mat board. And found these sheets to be extremely strong. And I'm going to be making the box, which will be pretty simple to do. And the reason I'll tell you why I'm making the box a little bit later. Um, I generally am of the philosophy that a box that is sized to the item within it, with little to no extra space, will be cheaper. It'll be stronger, and gives me a little bit of control on versus trying to find or use some pre-made box that really wasn't intended to fit it. So let's see. So to start off with, I'm going to have a drink of coffee. All right. All right. So to start off with, I also have some corners. I used to make the corners, but this wasn't worth my time, so I just buy big boxes of these, and I'll just use those unless it's something special. And these are some various pieces we'll go over to go into it. So to start off with, and I've pre-cut some of these sheets, but so this is the picture. I did wrap the picture and put it in plastic in there just to keep it safe, and so I know it's good. So there's the picture in there, and then I generally will put a piece of cardboard closest to the glass that's on here, and that'll just get taped there to hold it in place. Doesn't need to be too much there. Then next thing I'll do is I will put a layer of bubble wrap, and whether it's the small bubble wrap or large bubble wrap, it really just depends on how big of a space I've got to fill up. In this case, it's a generally small space, so I'm just going to put some in there just as a little bit of extra protection. Um, since this is actually two pieces of bubble wrap, I'll just kind of tape that together there, and that'll lay on top of it. And then I've got a piece of cardboard on top and a piece of cardboard on the bottom. Now, the cardboard is cut to be maybe about a quarter inch all the way around, so a half inch bigger than the picture itself, and that actually gives a space which provides additional side protection on the pieces once it's in there. And I've had damage that if I didn't put the cardboard going out, it actually dented the side of the frame. So that's kind of a lesson learned, and we're going to do a little bit more side protection before this is all done with. So that's pretty much getting your picture all in there. I can tape it, just do some simple taping here, just on the edges, all the way around. That'll be pretty. I try not to overdo the tape, but get that going. finish this up. All right, so the next thing that we'll do is we'll go ahead and put the corners on. And I just test the width of the corner that I'm going to need for this. Okay, so we'll probably just go right to that height here. Now this whole process that I'm doing here, this is what I call as a medium picture, but I've done it for large pictures as big as roughly 30 to 40 using almost exactly the same method. It really does scale pretty well, extremely well. And I've had, since the final adjustments, probably for over a year now, I've had zero issues with any damage. It's going extremely good. I'm very confident in the method. And I've shipped it worldwide using the same technique. Once you get a little bit bigger, I mean, I really don't do wooden crates, so I usually stay away from selling pictures that are bigger than that. So the corners, I just kind of just tape those on there. Doesn't have to be super tight, just enough to hold them in place here. Now, the next thing I'm going to be doing is I've got these kind of strips here, and the strips should be, cut them down a little bit. They're going to be done for an additional protection on the sides. I don't do this with smaller pictures, so if it were, maybe half this size, I generally wouldn't do the side. If it's 14x14 or 12x12, I generally would stay away from it. Just didn't find it's necessary, but it's generally optional depending on where my concerns are at with this type of picture. I've also used it for stained glass, and that's where I learned about the concern on the side protection, because that piece of stained glass broke, and so I'm a little overprotective at this point. Okay, so now what we've got to do is the sides, and so I'm just going to do something pretty straightforward here. Make just some side protection here. That should be pretty close. And we'll just get taped right there. Okay, that's good. Just do a couple of these. And that. And let's kind of reduce these a little bit. Not adding any value, having any excess there, so just kind of tighten things up. All right, so now that we've got those cut off, we'll just take those to the sides and get pretty close. So we can just go here, take these down, and that down. So the intent is really to get a lot of layers fitting in here. So we've got, against the glass, we've got a layer of cardboard with a thin layer of bubble wrap in there. Then we've got an additional layer of cardboard on both sides going in there. Then around the corners, we've also got the sides, which will, then we're also going to have bubble wrap, and then the box itself. So, I mean, really 4+ pieces of protection against the sides. um, and a lot of reinforcements. And even the box itself on the sides is going to have double cardboard um, protection, going in there. So it's going to be incredibly strong. All right. All right. So there's our IKEA. Yeah, I use the IKEA boxes. I got a good bit, but I don't use them for the outside of the box. I use it for internal stuff. The cardboard's a little bit weaker, but I'll use it on certain things that don't require. This one's got a very strong piece that I put on the front, but on the back I didn't need quite as strong. So I'll use the IKEA boxes for some of those things where I just need some scrap going into it. So that's good. Now, I've got a couple things I'll just want to, just kind of a fix on here for now. Just use some Scotch tape just to hang those in there. So it's just a note for the customer. Okay, we'll kind of smooth things aside. Let me go ahead and just hold off on that. So now we're going to just wrap it in bubble wrap. Now, bubble wrap will get 2 layers. This would be a perfect size for the 24-inch. Sometimes I'll have to do the sides with a separate piece or whatever, but I don't know. It worked pretty good. All right, just lay this right in here. And I'm just going to lay it here. And I'll go one. This will go essentially. There we go. Right, that gets our 2 layers of bubbles. And I always want the sides to overlap. So if the sides are empty, or I don't have enough room for the sides, and I'll do just regular wrap, double it, and fold it, tape it to the sides. In this case, I've got a good area so that I can just tape the sides. And let it go here. That's good. All right, the last side over here. Now, I am going to trim the corners. Remember, we've already got some side protection on there, and I trim these corners, the excess, because I want that box to be as efficient as possible as far as size goes. It isn't adding any value for all practical purposes. It may even be detracting a little bit. So now, let's clean up a little bit for a second. Okay, so what we've got is a bubble wrap piece. Now, what I do, and this is, I feel like the bubbles, if you don't secure it, they become a little bit stronger under a little bit of pressure. So I do put stretch wrap all the way around the picture, and it really provides I call it the cocoon, but it really, I think it gives some additional strength to the bubble wrap and less likely for cells to pop as it gets moved around. So I'll just do this. Yes, it takes some effort for the users to unpack it, and I usually give them a heads up that it takes a little bit of patience for the unpacking. Also, it creates some excitement for them, anticipation that something is so incredibly well packaged, and usually I'll get comments in regards to a level of antique or museum type quality of packaging. Now already you can feel this is pretty sturdy, pretty rigid. all around. Now we're going to get the dimensions on this one to start off. Okay, so let's see, it's got a measuring thing on the board here. So we'll go to, let's say, 27 by 21 and a half. And then the width will be essentially probably, I think we can do 3 inches. 3 inches. 3 inches. So 3 times 2 is 6, 27 and 6, which will be 33 and 27.5. 33 by 27.5 is going to be what we're going to cut our cardboard sheets to. One of them will be that sheet, one of them will be a 1/4 inch wider around because it'll take a little bit extra cardboard to pop it out. So this should go pretty, hopefully not too long. Let's get this going. All right, 27, 21.5, or 33. All right, so I'm going to do this way here. So this will be 33. 33, 7.5. Get this one cut. All right, I don't even measure the next one. I just know I want this to be a 1/4 inch gap, so I'll just kind of fit that in there. Get that cut here. This one cut here. Should be good. Okay, so those are 2 boxes. Roughly, one is a 1/4 inch bigger than the other one because it's going to one side's going to be the top, one side's going to be the bottom. The smaller is the bottom, the larger is the top. All right, and so we don't really care about the inside, but we're just going to go 3 inches around the edge, just do some quick marks because we said we're going to have a 3 inch deep box. So we'll do the 3 inches, 3 inches, 3, 3, 3, and okay, and with this one marked. 3. All right, this is all done. These markings are. Now we're just going to crease all the lines. Don't press too hard. Sometimes it might cut through the top layer, but generally that's a bad thing. Since this is going to have double reinforced sides, it's not a big deal, but generally you don't have to press incredibly hard on it to get that crease in there. But when you go with the grain, it's a little bit more delicate. Cautious. Don't try to push the crevice tool too hard against the cardboard. Okay, so that one's there. Get to that later, and we'll do this crease. little bit too hard, but again, not a big concern. All right, so those are done. I don't even think I need any more measuring for this. All right, so what you've got is you got your top and the bottom, this being the top and the bottom. So it doesn't really matter which one, but we're gonna cut the edges, but we're gonna cut them on different sides. So in this end, we're gonna cut it on the length side. And the other one we'll cut on the opposite side. And the reason is, otherwise you'll get really bulky corners, and it just evens it out a little bit. So this one's on the sides over here. Just keeps them alternating. I'll go ahead and turn the glue gun on so I don't forget that later. Okay. I guess I can see how long it actually takes me at the end of it all in the video, how long this box took, because for the most part, I only spent maybe 5 minutes prepping for some of the other material in there. All right, those are the two boxes. Our glue's probably going to actually take a minute to heat up, so we'll just kind of let that go. Don't need that anymore. Don't need any of these anymore. And I'll use the fragile tape and some of this. And I've also have a couple of these that I'll tape to the box, which are just some additional fragile pieces, a little more noticeable, that I'll add to it. And I will probably have to wait a second for the glue gun. Yeah, it's going to take a minute. So we'll get the box done, do the sides, and that's going to fit very nicely right in there. All right, let's let that go. Let's see. So I'm also going to be using some of the reinforced tape that I've got over here. That'll be to secure the box, and it'll also use a little bit of glue to secure the top to the bottom on the box. And let's go ahead and just start the basics out of it. While we're waiting for the glue to heat up, we can still continue on this step. So we're going to tape the bottom. So we'll get the bottom started. Just tighten it up real quick. You don't need a lot of tape. We're going to eventually glue this joint, so this one I'll kind of hold it there. I'll generally tape it at the same time I glue it, but this is one take. I'm just going to go with it. Okay. All right, and that's our basic box, and then this box will get folded and laid right on top of it, right there. So it'll be good. And how are we doing? Let's get there. Okay, I think we're good enough to at least. Still not hot enough. Give it one more second. A couple minutes of me time. All right. Now, I think when I did the last video, I got my one subscriber and commenter. He said, saving every penny as I go. That is absolutely true. I'm incredibly cheap. Pennies add up to dollars, and there's just something about, saving a couple dollars, especially on eBay, that takes so many fees and shipping costs. And I like getting creative about how I do the packaging. So it's kind of benefits me all around. But a lot of times I buy a lot of packaging, I buy a lot of quality materials, but there's just some things that get very expensive to buy, and some of these large sheets of cardboard, $2, $3, $4 a sheet, $2 a sheet over with U lines and so forth, and either I'll get them as part of other packaging, or I'll get them at Costco. When I mentioned that before, that I'll go get those large sheets for free, and those are very, very handy to get. It's going a little slow. We're going to squeeze through this because last corner. Here's the just kick it in now. Okay. All right, so that's bottom of the box. It's blue reinforced. The tape isn't really there for any reinforcement or structure, just there to keep the glue from falling apart. Okay, so where did our picture go? And we've got a picture. We'll put that into the box. Kind of see. Generally, that's not too high. Sometimes I'll put a little spacer in there just to fill it in, because maybe the box might be a little bit too high. It does look a little bit high. I might just throw in just a couple sheets of cardboard, mostly just to fill in the space. Not really any other reason. So just kind of put a couple pieces in there. It's kind of a filler. Not really a major issue. Doesn't hurt anything, but not really a big deal. I'm just gonna keep it from moving around. Okay, so now we go to the top of the box. And what we're going to do is we're going to secure one corner first before we do the rest of them. We're not going to secure them here. So we're just going to do that corner here. With our tape on there. And we're going to lay it on the top and flip it over. Make sure everything's super tight. We'll test fit. Everything is looking very good. We'll go ahead and get this corner done. And we'll do the tops. Again, the tape is there just to let the glue dry. Don't really add anything, so it just kind of keeps it. And so this is almost close to done. When you're done, you should have a pretty rigid package that you can't flex. It's the sidewalls are double. It's a good high quality thick cardboard, so we're looking good there. And really, the last main pieces are really just to do the glue, the tape around the sides. So, tape here. Usually just throw a spot of glue in there as well. That side. This is a reinforced tape, so again, reinforced spots. And the last side, two sides. Try not to overdo it with the glue, because I do have to unpack it. I try to just a little bit. I put one of these. I don't mess with any this end up type things. They don't make any difference on how they handle the product anyway. So, all right. And the last step is that I'll throw this fragile tape all the way around the side. Maybe a little bit of structural, but good there. That's the package. Now, in general, it's probably in averages, but I use package estimations. A lot of these are sold on eBay, so a lot of I have to estimate how much the package is going to weigh, and just through experience, what I found is that with this method, it generally weigh 50% more than the product that I'm shipping in this package. And so if the picture weighed 10 pounds, then I'd estimate 15 or 16 pounds for the final piece. Now, as far as the dimensions go, generally 4 inches on all sides would be a good general rule. So if the picture is 10 by 20, um, then you could size it as a 14 by 24 by 4. Usually they're 3 to 4 inches by the end of it all, but I'll usually just use 4. In this case, the package ended up at roughly 3 inches deep, and so 3 inches, probably a little bit more than half, so I'd probably say 328. And this dimension is 22, 22, 28, 22, 3 going into it. So that's all good. And the weight on this box will be 10 pounds. I have no idea what the picture itself weighed, but usually these types of packages are going to go UPS. You're going to get a pretty strong discount through UPS, somewhere between 40 to 50%. So I don't mind shipping the large pictures. And that's the end result. It's very rigid, very strong. Nothing's really going to hurt this. And I've sent them to Hawaii. I've sent them everywhere. Other countries, very, very, very mechanical. So, and it looks good. Now it is, as I said, the challenge is, make sure you give awareness to the customer that you're shipping it to. Be careful. Generally, they can be aggressive when they open in the box until the point that they get past the bubble wrap and past that first layer, and just be a little bit more careful when they get to the second cardboard shell is a general guidance on that one. So that's it. I know a little bit lengthy, but hopefully you'll find this useful, or maybe you've got some better ideas, better techniques that I haven't applied. Um, I've seen people that have used, instead of bubble wrap, they'll use plastic bags, recycled plastic bags, or all kinds of stuff and everything else. I kind of just draw the limit at certain things. But that's it. Thank you.